As the chief executive, the president is supposed to enforce the law. But what happens when the president violates the law? The president enjoys two prerogatives that make it very difficult to detect or punish wrongdoing by a sitting president: executive privilege and presidential immunity. Neither of these doctrines is mentioned in the Constitution. They were both created by the Supreme Court, and they both have the potential to be abused by a lawless president. This video discusses presidential immunity. When people do something wrong, they can usually be punished in one of two ways. First, they can be prosecuted by the government, and if they are found guilty, they can be fined or sentenced to prison. Second, they can be sued by the victims of their wrongdoing. But holding a president accountable in either of these ways is virtually impossible due to the doctrine of presidential immunity. The Supreme Court's first major decision on this issue came in a case called Nixon v. Fitzgerald in 1982. During the Johnson administration, Ernest Fitzgerald was a government employee who testified to Congress about cost overruns in a major military project. He was later fired by the Nixon administration. Alleging that his firing was illegal retaliation for his congressional testimony, he filed a lawsuit against President Nixon seeking $3.5 million in monetary damages. In a closely divided 5-4 ruling, the court held that presidents are absolutely immune from civil lawsuits resulting from their official duties. The court reasoned that presidents might attract a lot of lawsuits and that the fear of losing money could influence their behavior. They wrote, "The visibility of his office and the effect of his actions on countless people invite attention and inquiries that could seriously burden an incumbent president. The threat of civil liability could dampen the ardor with which the president executes his office and lead to a less courageous and vigorous performance of his duties." The court addressed presidential immunity again in the 1997 case of Clinton v. Jones. Paula Jones was a woman who filed a lawsuit against President Bill Clinton, alleging that he had sexually harassed her while he was the governor of Arkansas and she was an Arkansas state employee. Clinton did not argue that he was immune from the lawsuit because it involved private behavior rather than official acts. Instead, he sought to have the case delayed until he was no longer president. He argued that lawsuits are time-consuming and would distract a president from fully engaging with the duties of their office. In a unanimous decision, the Supreme Court disagreed. So, presidents can be sued for unofficial acts, and those lawsuits can proceed while they are in office. Much more recently, the court dramatically expanded the scope of presidential immunity in the 2024 case of Trump v. U.S. Following the 2020 election, President Trump engaged in various illegal activities in an attempt to overturn the results of the election, which he had lost.
Special Prosecutor Jack Smith was appointed to investigate and bring criminal charges as appropriate.
But in a 6-3 decision divided along partisan lines, the Supreme Court held that presidents are absolutely immune from criminal prosecution for any damages arising from their core constitutional duties. They are also presumed to be immune from prosecution for any other official acts that are not part of their core duties. In addition, courts are prohibited from inquiring about the motives for the president for committing any specific act. Many observers see this as a shocking expansion of presidential power. For example, during oral argument, Trump's attorneys seemed to agree that a president would be immune from ordering the military to kill one of his political rivals, because being commander-in-chief is one of the president's core powers. Writing in dissent, Justice Sonia Sotomayor said, "The court effectively creates a law-free zone around the president. This new official act's immunity now lies about like a loaded weapon for any president that wishes to place his own interests, his own political survival, or his own financial gain above the interests of the nation. Orders the Navy's SEAL Team 6 to assassinate a political rival? Immune. Organizes a military coup to hold on to power? Immune.
takes a bribe in exchange for a pardon, immune, the president is now a king above the law.